Good morning, good afternoon, guys. We're back for another Geek Tavern. It's me, Shawn, and as always, I'm joined by Mike.
Yo.
And Aaron.
Yo ho.
And we're going to talk about a little bit of movie news here. So, I think it was yesterday I found out about this. Amazon is making an original show for Fallout. I don't know. We don't know anything about it, but
I think Bethesda is involved.
yeah, they are involved.
I would imagine.
The people that created Westworld are the showrunners too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
Wow.
so
It's a big get,
yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
if this comes out before the Lord of the Rings thing, I think that'll be a nice.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Lord of the Rings.
I think the rest of the world did too.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of one of those things where everybody was like, weren't they making a Lord of the Rings?
Because that was supposed to be like one of the most expensive
Yeah, it's
TV
like $1
shows
billion.
ever.
Yeah.
I think that if they do well on that, the Fallout show, that's a good indicator for the Lord of the Rings show. But yeah, that's
I don't think
basically all we
numbers
know.
will be comparable to what Lord of the Rings will be, though.
No, it's probably not going to have near
Because
the budget
Fallout,
or
I mean, Fallout has a fan base, obviously, but nothing probably to what.
yeah,
Most nerds enjoy Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And if they don't enjoy Fallout.
Yeah.
Right.
it's pretty vast.
I kind of hope, we see some key locations from all the games,
yeah.
Specifically 3 and on, because not a lot of people played 1 and 2.
Yeah, I only briefly played 3, so
Yeah.
the only thing I know about is Megaton or whatever.
I hope they blow that shit up.
I made my character in 4, and then I just stopped playing. Because remember when Josh was all mad at me? He's like, hey, are you going to give me my copy of Fallout 4 back? And I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, have you made it farther than making your character? And I'm like, no.
Nope, just character creation.
That game was great, though.
It was great. The little bit that I played, like just at the beginning, I enjoyed.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed the Fallout.
I just watched my friends in college play it. I never really had a
Oh yeah, I like
spot
watching
for
somebody
those,
play.
like Elder Scrolls games too. They're kind of the same thing. It's if they made an Elder Scrolls show, it would basically just be Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Just in a different
yeah,
universe.
essentially. Except they'd have like more like animal human hybrid type of stuff.
Yeah, more fantasy than just what Game of Thrones is.
I mean, dragons, that's fantasy.
Yeah, but like...
Oh, well, this kind of is like speaking of that, it's kind of more local for us, but did you guys know that Dr. Rice got a Drogon replica that's up in Doolittle's? It's up by the dinosaur park.
Oh, yeah?
And he put a giant Brachiosaurus in next to the building now.
Huh.
That is such a bizarre...
It's bizarre, but it's like awesome. Like every time I go up there, I'm like, what new stuff does he have? He's got like a 10-foot tall Velociraptor by the front door.
Yeah.
Like it's gigantic.
I guess it's a nice thing for kids to do.
Oh yeah.
Walk through your dinosaur museum.
Yeah.
I don't think it's open right now, of course,
No.
but when it reopens, when Jurassic Park reopens.
So this is some other news. You should have waited for that. You should have waited for that segue later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
More on that later.
Pretend I say this later.
But another news that Mike and I know about, but I'm glad I could break this news to you, Aaron. Jason Momoa is going to be playing Frosty the Snowman in a live-action Frosty the Snowman movie.
What?
With special guest Michael Keaton as Jack Frost.
What?
No, I'm kidding about that.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. We're not treading into this territory, are we?
But yeah, by all accounts, that's a real thing.
Okay. I mean, like, okay, but I, like my whole thing about it is like Jason Momoa. He's great in everything he is, but he doesn't have like one of those. I mean, you know his voice, but to me, he doesn't have like that iconic voice like you could pick out instantly.
Tom Hanks.
Yes,
somebody like Tom
something
Hanks,
like that.
Yeah,
like anybody who like you're like, yeah, that's that guy's voice. Like
that.
Like that's what bothers
That's
me
a
a little
good
bit
point
about
because
that.
I didn't think of
It's
that.
because Jason Momoa is just kind of like, and like you could play audio of him saying something, and if I didn't see, I'd be like, who's that?
Yeah, they should make...
I can't even think of his voice, to be honest.
They should make Keith David Frosty the Snowman.
Honestly, that would be much better.
What about Morgan Freeman?
I think that's just...
Keith David is a
Why are they
That's the
making
thing,
a?
Keith David has such a recognizable voice.
I think we shouldn't be questioning who they cast as Frosty the Snowman. I think we should be asking, why are they making a Frosty the Snowman movie?
Well, they made Jack Frost.
Yeah,
that was
25
years ago.
That was a very long time ago.
I'm just saying,
it's
they made bad
like,
decisions back then. They can still make bad decisions.
the
now.
visuals of that movie still, the last that I remember watching it, still look pretty good.
I watched it
I
within the last year, and it still holds up.
The story maybe not so much, but
that reminds me of a text conversation we had earlier, which, I mean, it kind of... Were you done with news? Because I could segue.
No, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, like, this kind of segues into, like, what we've been watching. I recently saw The Greatest Showman in our movie theater, which I had never watched. It was a good movie. A lot of catchy songs and everything. P.T. Barnum's kind of a dick. But, I mean, like, Hugh Jackman plays the role well. I enjoyed the movie. I mean, I can't say that I didn't have fun. But in a text conversation in our thread, I had mentioned to our other friend who had watched it years ago, and he's like the only one who really enjoyed it, aside from me. And I said, I really enjoyed The Greatest Snowman. And I was like, Showman. And then I just corrected it again and said, Jack Frost starring Michael Keaton is my favorite movie of all time. And he's like, where's the lie there?
But, yeah, so...
I mean, speaking of Michael Keaton, I guess we weren't done with news. But, so there's a lot of speculation about him being in talks to be...
In Flashpoint.
Didn't I hear, though, it was like 12 roles, like 12 appearances in different movies or something?
I have no idea.
I thought I read that.
I hope it is.
I thought I read that somewhere.
That would be insane.
I'd love that.
But
I'd love to see him come back and play Bruce Wayne and all that.
Yeah, and if it's not a Batman Beyond kind of situation, I don't know.
Well, the thing about Flashpoint is...
Flashpoint's a whole different...
Yeah. So I forget the Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He was Thomas Wayne. And Flashpoint's story is that somebody kills Bruce Wayne.
Was he the voice in?
No, in like the what was it? Was it Batman versus Superman or was it Dawn of Justice? Either way,
no,
yeah,
Batman versus Superman, which is Dawn of Justice. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was. Yeah, you're right. He was Thomas.
He was Thomas Wayne.
I keep forgetting that he was.
And because we had to see Batman's origin for the 10th time, but basically in Flashpoint, it's that somebody kills Bruce Wayne, and then Martha becomes the Joker because she goes insane, and then Thomas becomes Batman. Yeah. So I want to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Batman as much as I'd like to see Michael Keaton as Batman again.
Well, no, I don't think that the Michael Keaton is going to be that Batman.
Oh, okay.
Because
he's going to be Batman, but he's not going to be. I don't think it's
the same person. It's just going to be like a bunch of Batman.
They're probably going to twist the story around.
Yeah. Well, they can do whatever.
Also, not only that, they're probably going to do. I mean, I don't know if it happens in the comic or not, because I know it didn't happen in the animated version. Mm-hmm. But maybe they're going to go to a separate timeline, and in which Michael Keaton is old Bruce, and like maybe I don't know,
basically like what the Arrowverse did recently with their crossover, where we saw Kevin Conroy, as a live action Batman, but he was kind of a dick.
So, but with that, I mean, there's a way that you could do that where it's like, if they go to a timeline and he meets like old Bruce, and Flash is like, well, I was supposed to be going to this timeline or whatever to like fix this, and maybe that's where he's just gonna be like, oh no, here's what you have to do, and like helps him get to the timeline that he needs to get to.
Yeah,
but no, because in Flashpoint, Batman Thomas is like in his prime.
Yeah. So
I mean, it would be.
And he uses guns and shit.
Right? Yeah. But like, you couldn't have Michael Keaton.
Yeah, but Ben Affleck already uses guns and shit.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
but you wouldn't be able to use Keaton in that role because you got to have him doing all this stuff.
Right.
So Jeffrey Dean Morgan would have to play him.
Right.
What if we find out that we're already in Flashpoint and Ben Affleck's Batman is actually Thomas Wayne, but he just goes by Bruce?
And all that confusing stuff with the Joker, the Robin thing.
Yeah.
I hated that. That's one thing that I absolutely hated because I was like, oh, Jason Todd. And they're like, no. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh, they said that?
They confirmed that it's Dick, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's dumb.
Who Snyder confirmed that. Snyder himself said, no, it's Dick Grayson. And I'm like, what? You idiot. Like, you literally could have had the door open to that storyline and you just closed it right there.
Yeah, because you're going to write off Nightwing.
Yeah.
You know?
But, like, come on. You could do a Red Hood or an Arkham Knight movie.
Yeah.
And it would be great. But no, you had to be like, no, it's Dick.
I like what they do in Batman
wonder.
Beyond, where Tim becomes the Joker. Where instead of them killing Jason, they kidnap Tim and then they make him the Joker. I thought that would have been interesting because some people were speculating that Jared Leto was a former Robin. So I thought that would have been interesting.
That would have been pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. But
so a lot of speculation with this Michael Keaton thing is that also the Arrowverse is going to like play a part in this Flashpoint thing because, you know, Ezra Miller Flash showed up on that crossover that you didn't watch either.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
So
I mean, they officially tied the movie universe to the CW universe.
Yeah. Very, very briefly, you know.
I think that...
But at least the connection is there, so if they have to go to doing something with the character, you're like, oh, that's not unheard of.
I mean, as long as we get Stephen Amell playing Arrow on the big screen, I'm all in.
like I said to you the other day, like, I'm fine with a Brandon Routh Superman show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, give him his second chance to play that character again.
I thought he did a great job. I mean, maybe that movie isn't specifically...
It's not great.
I don't mind it because I just like, you know.
Well, I watched them all in order because I bought like the 5-movie pack at Walmart.
Yeah.
So I watched Superman, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, and then watched Superman Returns, and I was like, ew, I think I like Superman 3 more than Superman Returns.
I've never seen 3 or 4. So
3's the one with Richard Pryor, I think. Yeah.
But anyway, we all saw a movie in the theater. Because since no movies are coming out anymore, our movie theater's been playing old movies. And we all got the pleasure of watching Jurassic Park in the theater, which was a great experience.
It was a fantastic experience. That movie on the big screen still holds up. Everything about it is just... like
the only thing I really noticed was, and I don't know the dinosaurs' names, the long neck.
Brachiosaurus.
Yeah. When they first show up, it was kind of wonky. You could kind of see.
I think that's the only. That's
the only part that I noticed.
Yeah, that's the only one that it's like that doesn't look so good.
Yeah,
the rest of it.
But the rest was fantastic.
Yeah. And that's such a great story too. Just everything about the movie.
Everything about that movie is great. Everything, the dialogue, like I get like. Nowadays, people show Jurassic Park to their kids because they love dinosaurs. But, like, you watch that movie and you really pay attention, you're like, wow, like, this is a really good movie. Like, all the philosophical and ethical dilemmas that each character, like, that they're trying to, like, get across to John Hammond. Like, this isn't right. Like, you shouldn't do this. And he's, like, trying to reason with them, like, well, you don't understand, like, this is why I never meant for it to go this way. And they're like, no, like, we understand you didn't, but it did, and now it's, you know, we're screwed up. Like, you gotta fix it. But, I mean, that movie is just great all around. And I remember Josh said, because we were talking about the score, and I was like, this is why John Williams' best scores ever. And he's like, I was just about to say the score is phenomenal. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's
the
Gamma ripoff.
Yeah, the Gamma ripoff. Wouldn't that be hilarious if the first Gamma had come out like 2 years before instead of 2 years after? And everyone's like,
Yeah, but that those two like sequences, Welcome to Jurassic Park, and then just like the theme.
Yeah,
there's like two of the best pieces of music in cinema history.
Yeah. I mean, they are. They're just so iconic. And then, like, it's adventurous. It's beautiful. Like, it just encompasses everything about the movie. And I mean, that's how John Williams works. Like, I just rewatched E.T. recently, and listening to the score, I'm just like, this guy just I don't know. Like he just could like sit at a piano and be like, and just like starts going, and instantly an iconic score is just fleshed out in 15 minutes.
Is there anybody that rivals John Williams?
Not in my book.
Yeah.
Alan Silvestri might be the second best.
Hans Zimmer
And,
is used a lot, but
Yeah.
Ennio Morricone.
yeah.
I think, but Alan Silvestri, who did The Avengers, Back to the Future,
Yeah, Back to the Future.
Judge Dredd, like he did a lot of stuff throughout the 80s and 90s. He's really good.
I mean, just name recognition, like
Jerry Goldsmith probably would be up there too. I think
Steve Blomkamp, is that his name?
no, Blonsky.
Yeah.
No, it's not Blonsky. I'm trying to remember the guy who did Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers.
He's good, but he kind of fell off. Steve Jablonsky.
Yeah, Steve Jablonsky.
like John Williams is like one of the only ones I can name you. Like
you get composers who come in
Hans
and write Hans Zimmer.
Like, he does.
I know that
Zimmer's-
name too.
Hans Zimmer's okay.
He does a lot of superhero stuff.
I feel like a lot of his scores are kind of cookie cutter. Like you could play one, and I'm like, I don't know what that's from.
What about the one from Spider-Man? where it's just
that was James Horner.
Oh, was it?
That was James Horner's last movie that he scored.
Yeah, that because it was fucking terrible.
James Horner. While I like James Horner's work in some movies, he is like one of the biggest plagiarists when it comes to doing music. Because there are so many YouTube videos where somebody's like, "This by this composer sounds exactly like James Horner doing this." Like he copied his own score from Aliens. Or he copied his own score from Wrath of Khan for Aliens. And I was like, what? Like, why would you do that? But, John Williams he's top contender. You can play, for anybody who, like, doesn't even, like, isn't huge into the movies that he scored, if you play that, they're just like, oh, yeah, I know that. Like, you just play a score and they're like, oh, yeah, that's John Williams. Or even if they don't know it's John Williams, they connect it. But like you can
connect
play
it to the movie.
Yeah, you can play some scores for movies and people are like, yeah, I don't know what this is from.
Like Star Wars aside, like
Jaws.
Harry Potter.
Anytime you hear any of those, like even the Home Alone theme comes to mind. You know.
But like you think about the big hard hitting franchises from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and you think Harry Potter, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Jaws, all those huge E.T., all those huge movies are all scored by the same guy.
Yeah, that's why I want to put it out there. Like,
there's
nobody that really rivals.
No, and they all sound different. Like he makes, like I said with Hans Zimmer, I like Hans Zimmer, but a lot of his scores are very cookie cutter.
Yeah,
where you're like, oh, this could have easily just fit.
He's pretty well known, but it's just not.
It's
the
not
body of work is just not there.
It's not my cup of tea. No.
Yeah.
And whereas like John Williams, and there are a lot of composers like Steve Jablonsky's one where you could take a score from this movie and put it in another movie that he scored and it would be the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not distinctive enough to where you're like, oh, that's unique. Yeah. Whereas John Williams is just like, I gotta make this as unique as possible so it can't be confused with another thing.
Yeah.
But like through the years, because I listen to a lot of movie soundtracks, if I'm watching a movie and it has opening credits with music, 8 to 9 times out of 10, I'll be able to tell who the composer is before their name comes up on the screen. I kind of make it like a contest. I'll be watching a movie on like Amazon that I never watched, and I'll go, it sounds like Jerry Goldsmith, and then it comes up music by Jerry Goldsmith, and I'm like, damn, I got it.
Who do you think's so obviously John Williams isn't going to be with us forever.
Yeah.
And he's done doing Star Wars now. Michael Giacchino. What about Ludwig Göransson?
He could definitely do a lot of good with Star Wars.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be Star Wars, just anything.
Michael Giacchino was my first choice once the movie Super 8 came out. Because the way he scored it, I thought it was John Williams. And when I looked it up and it was Michael Giacchino, I was like, if John ever kicks the bucket, they better get him to do Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then with Rogue One, Alexander Desplat, who did the last 2 Harry Potter movies, and then he did the first Godzilla movie, he originally was slated to do the score. And then something happened where he had to back out or something, and they got Michael Giacchino to come in and do it all within like a month, which is quick for a composer to do that. And he did a good job with it because a lot of those themes that they use in that sound like they're John Williams type themes, which listening to his music and the way he composes, John had to have been a huge inspiration for him, like getting into that. So, I mean, he would be my second choice for anybody to jump into that.
Bear McCreary.
I like Bear McCreary. I do like him a lot. His, like, if there's one soundtrack of his that I will listen to over and over, it's the Godzilla King of the Monsters, because he incorporated the themes from the old movies. But aside from just his themes, there are tracks on there that I'll listen to just because they're good. Like the track that where Serizawa sacrifices himself. An excellent track. I mean, he writes good music. I'm not saying that some composers write bad music. I'm just saying there are definitely some that are tiers above the rest.
Right. Yeah.
Got a little off track about Jurassic
We
Park.
did, but I enjoy talking about film composers.
I mean, I think that it's so tied to Jurassic Park, the music.
Yeah.
That it's
the music
impossible, inevitable to get off that. I think it's almost the most important part of the movie.
People don't talk about the music enough.
No, you're right. And that's the thing that people lose sight of, like, because I'll talk to people and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm like, the Avengers theme is like so iconic and everything, and they're like, I don't even know what it sounds like.
Of course,
like, how do you not know? But it is. You know it is. You know it is. But I'm like the Avengers theme is like the quintessential superhero theme.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't even remember what it sounds like. I'm like, do you not pay attention? Like,
I refuse to believe that if you've watched all of the Avengers movies and the Marvel films that you don't know what the Marvel or the Avengers theme is. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you might not, like, be off the top of your head, but if you heard it, you'd be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I could hum it to you. Because I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
I'm not going to, but I definitely could.
Dun, dun,
but, like,
dun,
there's
dun.
one...
Like, the Wonder Woman one, I can boom.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one, too.
Yeah.
That one's wicked.
With,
I just love the new version, you know.
But like with Avengers, like the portal scene, that's like one of the best scored scenes in a movie, like of recent time.
Yeah.
Like he scored that perfectly.
Oh, what a good
music is a huge part of movies.
Infinity War is on Plus now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did see that. I just saw that. So it's probably off Netflix.
Yeah,
finally. And the first Mighty Ducks.
Solo's on there too, so that means it's off Netflix too.
Yeah. Well,
so every Star Wars then is now.
Oh, Hamilton's now.
Oh yeah, Hamilton just came out today.
Yeah, I do want to watch that.
Are we done with Jurassic Park? Or we have more to say?
I think we're done.
I mean, all we needed really to say was that it holds up and it looks great on the big screen.
And you know, people say watching one of your favorite movies in the theater, if you didn't see it when it came out, is a different experience. I will attest to that, because watching Jurassic Park in the movie theater is.
I don't know if I talked about it much, and I don't have to like spend a lot of time on it, but
we got time.
Did I? I know. Did I mention last time or the time before about Back to the Future?
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, like if you ever get a chance to see any of your favorite movies in the theater that you never saw in the theater, it's a
You've watched the Lost World Jurassic Park, right? The second one?
Like once.
Because I learned something interesting that I was telling Shawn. All those dinosaurs were free, right? When they showed up at the island.
Mm.
And I thought about that, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, I was sitting at work, and I'm like, wait a minute. How did those dinosaurs get out?
Mm-hmm.
So I started, like, researching Isla Sorna. Turns out that the reason that they were all out was because a hurricane hit that chain of islands.
Oh.
All the InGen workers had to leave. But before they left, because they were abandoning the site, they weren't going to come back because the hurricane was going to do too much damage. They unlocked all the cages so that the dinosaurs would at least have a fighting chance. And then they developed their own ecosystem within 5 years.
Oh.
So when they went back, they were roaming all over the island.
Okay.
But also, Site B was the breeding site. They didn't make the dinosaurs on Isla Nublar. They made them on Isla Sorna and then transported them to Isla Nublar, which was like 85 miles south Quest, I think.
And basically, that's what Jurassic Park opens with, is them bringing them
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the history of those.
Well,
things.
like, because I was thinking about that, and I was like, wait a minute, why are all those dinosaurs out? I was like, what happened prior to that all of them got loose and everything? So then I researched it, and I was like, well, that answered that. I mean, maybe they said it in the movie, and I just didn't catch it. But,
right, yeah.
But that's, other Jurassic Park news. What's the guy who played Peter Parker's dad in The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Oh,
I forget his name.
I
have no idea.
Campbell Scott.
Yeah.
Campbell Scott is playing Dodson in Jurassic World Dominion. Because as if we didn't have enough characters that we didn't give a shit about already, we got to shoehorn in
Jurassic
one that
World
was long forgotten.
Jurassic World was okay. I still have yet to see.
Don't waste your
other
time.
But we also Dodson had to be recast because, as some of you may not know, he's a convicted sex offender. So of course they couldn't rehire him for Jurassic World Dominion.
All right.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
No, but honestly, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not that great. No. The first one is pretty good.
First one is good.
2014, that one is good. But
Yeah.
the second one's not.
2015.
Whatever.
No, because I remember you said that, and then I looked up something from the movie, and then I realized it was 15, and I meant to tell you, like, wait, no, it was 2015.
Oh my god, that was the same year as
Star
Force
Wars.
Awakens?
Yeah.
Huh.
No, yeah, because I was so excited for 2015 was the last year I was truly happy. Because I got to relive Jurassic World and Star Wars in the same year, and then when 2016 hit, everything just for everyone, not just me personally, was everything just took a downturn.
I would argue to say the last.
I'm happy
we'll
now.
go
but
the last 5 years have just been great in cinema.
Oh,
I think
they've been fantastic.
Like,
yeah. It's just been like
this is the first year that's real shit. Obviously,
Yeah.
2019 has just been like. 2019 was fantastic for movies.
Yeah,
Avengers, well, not Star Wars, but Godzilla.
All kinds of
those
stuff.
were big ones that I was waiting for.
yeah.
But
There's a lot of good.
2018 was towards the end was pretty good too, because you had you had Solo early.
Was that Venom and stuff?
Venom,
Yeah.
or was Venom? Yeah, Venom
Yeah, I
was
think it was
2018. Yeah, and then Infinity War. Rampage came out. That's one of the ones that
Wow.
I haven't seen that one.
It's one of the ones that I remember.
Yeah.
We see so many movies where I would just be like, did we see that? Yeah. Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to put that out there.
Well, since we're done now, we had a recommendation from me. Actually, 2 recommendations. But we'll start with this one, I guess.
I hope it's the one that I don't like.
Ooh.
Yeet.
Ooh. Yikes. Which one is that?
We'll start with Treasure Planet. So Treasure Planet is obviously a different take on the story Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. And it's a space operatic version. I guess I don't really have to go into the story of Treasure Island, but basically Jim Hawkins is a kid who finds the map to Treasure Island, in this case Treasure Planet.
Given to him by Billy Bones.
Yeah, by him by Billy Bones, and he goes off to find the treasure, and the crew mates that are on the ship that he has hired are villains that used to be on Captain Flint's crew, the purveyor of the treasure, and they try and mutiny, and it's basically just them trying to survive and get the treasure. So,
which, I just want to point out, I watched these back to back, so I might get confused between story points.
How? What is Muppets?
Well, yeah, but they're the same story. They're the same story through and through.
But before we get started, I like to say I enjoy the fact that both of these movies have a Star Trek reference.
Oh yeah, they're great.
I forget what the one in Treasure Planet is, but
no, it's dang it, Jim.
Oh, that's right.
I'm an
astronomer,
doctor.
not a doctor. Yeah. And obviously the one in the Muppets is to boldly go where no one's gone before. But
on a 5-year mission.
Yeah.
Where to boldly go where no one has gone before. And then he looks right at the camera and goes, "Has a nice ring, doesn't it?"
but yeah, I like to say that I really enjoyed this movie, and I like to hear what you guys think.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed. This is not my first time watching Treasure Planet. I did watch it a long time ago. Not a long time ago. This is probably within the last
In the galaxy
last
far, far
8
away.
years. Yeah, this is probably within the last 8 years. I watched it for the first time, and it's from the same animation team / producers who did Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and there's another one
Is that why it told me to watch
called
it?
yes. There's another one called Titan AE, which is the same producers and everything.
Okay.
Um,
Is that Disney or?
no, it was a
Okay.
Fox produced one, but it's the same animation team.
I remember seeing. I can remember
Yeah.
the poster.
There are, with the exception of Atlantis, his movies tend to incorporate some song that really doesn't belong.
Oh yeah,
Like the montage in this movie was fine, but
Yeah.
that's one thing that completely threw me was when the song started. I was like,
Like that
this
real
does
90s,
not-
that real 90s,
Yeah.
like
I was like, this does not
3 doors
belong
down
here.
ish,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this does not belong here. This should not be in here. It should be an orchestral type of.
that's one part of
montage.
the story that I thought. I mean,
You have to build the bond.
comparing the two movies, our recommended movies. I think that it worked better in this movie because it showed the strengthening bond between Jim and Silver.
Yes.
But like that doesn't really happen in the Muppets movie.
No.
Like between him and
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Like Tim Curry says that he cares about Jim at one point, but it's just like it
There's
didn't really feel
never a bond forged
Yeah.
between the two.
I mean, there's that one scene on the deck, but that's about it.
yeah.
But I really felt it in this one because of the montage and
In Treasure Planet, it's really strengthened. But the song,
yeah,
out of
terrible.
everything in the movie, the song is what threw me the most and like took me out of it. Because I'm like listening to this song and I'm like, no, this shouldn't be here. But I have to say the animation style, I love it.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love the 2D mixed with 3D. Like I said, Atlantis: The Lost Empire is one of my favorite movies. So like this style, and it's so creative. It's unique with what they did. Like they took that story and wanted to do. They put a spin on it where everything is superior technology, but has an old feel to it, which I really like.
That's one thing I wanted to bring up. So was it like 100 years had passed since Flint's death?
I think.
Yeah. So first of all, how is Silver still alive? But second of all,
Well, he's an alien.
well, that's true. He is an alien, so he could live for a long time. But second of all, oh crap, I forgot. Oh yeah. So in the beginning
Because
sequence,
he said he did spend a lifetime
Yeah.
searching for it. So.
in the beginning sequence, we see that they still have the same technology,
Mhm.
like the hollow ships. And then 100 years in the future, it's still just the same technology. You think that it would advance more from then,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really matter. It
You-
works.
You'd think, but we're almost 100. Well, we are 100 years past the first automobile. We still can't fly.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. You can only take it so far.
Yeah. All
And
right. So
we don't know what their economy's like either.
So, to give it all away, this is the one that I absolutely did like.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
All right.
Good. I was worried there for a
But
second.
so like everything you said, but the animation is great. I really love what they did with the story, like because it's the same thing but just different, and the technology and just the world that this is in, it left me wanting more at the end.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like Tron Legacy did, but going back to that song, like I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But that montage is great, like building that bond between those two, because he's longing for a father figure, and I don't know. I guess I'll say that it kind of hits home,
Yeah.
like I mean, my dad's around, but like I won't get into that on the podcast. But anyway, yeah, so that part hit home, and just I don't know everything. I
Yeah,
really like
it's
this
great.
movie. I don't know.
The only, I mean, the song obviously is a takeout, and honestly, I enjoyed it so much. I was like so captivated with it. I hardly took any notes.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna get ready, take some notes, and then the movie was over, and I was like, oh crap, I better throw down some notes before I
So,
forget.
I wanted to add in about the song. Remember I said about Titan AE?
Yeah.
The same producer or director, whoever it was, who made Titan AE, added like some original song by Creed in that movie
Oh, really?
during like a montage where he's like moving something on an asteroid, and I'm like, no.
I gotta look
This
that up
is-
because
I'm
I'm,
like, this
I'm a
is
fan of Creed.
Stupid. Like, well, no, not that the song is bad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just it doesn't belong in the movie, and you watch it and you're like, what? Like what? Like you're watching it, and I don't know, something about it just completely like when you have an all orchestral soundtrack and you just have one 90s song in there. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
huh? Like no, do that everywhere then.
That's
like
exactly...
Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't put "Come and Get Your Love" at the beginning and never play another song off the Walkman. Like I don't know. That bothered me that the song is just so out of place.
It is really out of place.
Well, before we get any further,
Jimbo.
Ben, if he wasn't, so he's obviously annoying, like terribly annoying.
Oh, I love them.
But whenever he puts the memory chip back in, if he would have just been like dialed down like 3-4 points, it would have been so much better. Because it's like, oh, he's sane again. He has everything back. But he's still just Martin Short. Bah! It's just like, I was just like, holy fuck. You need to calm down.
I do like Martin Short's portrayal.
I thought he was hilarious just the whole time. And I thought he was a little bit more calm. I didn't think he was, as spasmodic or
maybe it's
whatever.
because the planet was imploding, but he was
right.
like, he was just like screaming. Also, I think it's funny that we're just skipping right to the end. That he's a navigating like robot, and he's basically forced. He's forced to work at the Hawkins Inn now.
Oh yeah,
with his mom for the rest of his life.
But one thing I wanted to mention about the technology, like I started noticing things in there, like if you look at Ben. The way that he's like built is so unique. Whoever designed this stuff, like his jaw has like an accordion type thing where it can move.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn, like this stuff is so unique.
He
and like
folds and
the
antennas
antennas act as his eyebrows, like with the little dishes on them. And then another thing I noticed about like when they designed the planet, Treasure Planet, that core. I mean, like, it's just the little things that, like, a designer does. And, like, I do it, too, when I'm, like, drawing comics. Is I'm like, oh, what if this does this? But I appreciate it because I'm, like, looking at it. And when they open the door to the core, those lasers are hitting and rotating the core to form, like, a gravitational pull. And I'm like, that's little shit like that no one else is going to look at and think about that. But I'm like, that's rotating the core so that the planet like continues to orbit and has gravitational pull and everything.
I love it. It's almost like they designed everything
with a
practically.
Purpose, yeah. Yeah, and I mean like that's the stuff that I appreciate is when you design because like they'll design shit in movies where I'm like, what purpose does that serve? Like what does that do? But like in these movies, they just do everything to a T, and you're like, oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
No, it's incredible.
That visual of just like the hunk of gold as the core, just like rotating, being the center of this planet,
and the
amazing.
Beams just hitting it to continuously rotate.
Everything about it's beautiful, and the character interactions are great. Jim is a great character.
Yeah, there's really no characters that I disliked in this movie.
Ben.
I would say
I
would say he's the least likable, but like every other character is just great.
I don't agree. I freaking love Ben. When he showed up, I'm like, all right, now the movie kicked off.
and he doesn't show up until you said too, like in the third act of the movie.
Right, it was pretty late, but I mean,
he was marooned on the planet.
Yeah.
Get to the planet in the third act, so
that wasn't really where it kicked off for me. I thought it was a good addition at the moment.
The like windsurfing scenes were great. And then that whole imploding star sequence was incredible. That's one thing about this too, is like the action sequences were great.
They
Like
were.
first of all with that imploding star sequence, and then when Jim has to go back onto the ship to
And
find
fight, Scroop. Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
to find the treasure map, and he has to fight Scroop. That was like
That was
genuine
awesome.
horror, because like Ben's unplugging things. And
It was
and
like
it goes
aliens.
yeah, it
because
goes dark.
The generator kicks on. It's red. And you just see it like lowering
Yeah.
down behind him, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a great scene. And then obviously he's gonna murder him, just like
That was,
he
that was a
killed
great
Arrow.
villain,
Arrow.
that spider.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, that was really good. There was something else I was gonna say about.
I was gonna say how adorable Morph was.
Oh yeah,
Like, just
Morph.
Yeah.
Morph is a good character. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Who is essentially supposed to be the Polly Parrot of Treasure Island.
Yeah.
But that's like that stuff. It's that stuff. Like they just change a little bit enough, and it's like, or like in Treasure Island, Billy Bones tells him, "Beware the man with one leg," or something like
Yeah,
that.
beware the
And in this,
cyborg.
it's "Beware the cyborg," and you find out Silver's a cyborg, which you're like, it's just shit like that where they just tweak it enough
Yeah.
to where it's the same story, but it's completely unique.
Silver's
great.
cyborg arm is so cool looking.
It is really
is.
cool.
Just
The
like-
fact that he can like switchblade it up and like all that, I'm like, oh my god.
The one scene where I think it was when they were escaping, or
Mhm.
they had to blow something up, and he like sticks his hand into his leg and like pulls up like a cannon on his
Oh,
arm.
yeah.
That was
Oh,
like
yeah.
so cool.
That's when Jimbo realizes that he turned on him, I
Yeah.
think. And he's chasing Jim, the captain, and I can't remember the professor
Dempsey.
guy.
Who is it?
The scientist.
Oh, I forget what his name is.
Yeah.
Dr. Doppler, I
Yeah.
think is his name.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But
But
he's played
yeah.
by Fraser's brother. That's all I
Niles.
remember.
Niles.
And then Emma Thompson is the captain
yeah,
of the ship. That's where the meme came from. And I completely forgot what movie it was from. But the meme where she's like, "You have wonderful eyes," and he's like, "She's lost her mind." Dang it, Jim. I'm an astronomer, not a doctor. Well, I'm a doctor, but not that kind of doctor. I mean, I'm a doctorate. And so like, that was a great Star Trek joke.
yeah.
I laughed at that pretty well. I mean, all these Disney movies have a bit of humor in them.
Oh, yeah.
They're great.
The sad history of this movie, though, is that Disney's basically set it up to fail.
Did that?
Like they didn't want it to succeed
It's
because
such a good movie, though.
the creators of this movie famously created Aladdin, Pocahontas, The Little Mermaid, and they're like, "Hey, we want to make our own movie," which was this. And they're like, "Okay, well, you can make your own movie, but make this movie for us first." So they did. And then finally they made Treasure Planet. And like, they basically didn't advertise for it at all. Like, they
Right.
didn't like have any advertising for it.
Like, I vaguely remember this being.
I can remember
Released.
it being advertised, like the McDonald's toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest with you. My knowledge of like Disney movies coming out came from McDonald's.
Oh, I think a
because
lot.
you'd see the commercials and they're
Yeah.
like, "Get your Treasure Planet toy," and I'm like, "I need my Treasure Planet."
No,
toy."
that's a great point. Like,
yeah.
in the
And then you get your toy and you're like, "I want to go see the movie." And
in the
parents
90s and
take
early
you to see the
2000s,
movie.
like that was a big campaign for.
I tried to get all the McDonald's Atlantis toys when they came out.
Yeah.
I had the crystal necklace.
Up until
the
last
Leviathan.
year, my dad still had a Batman Forever cup,
Oh wow!
like a glass. It was like,
Yeah, the collector's glass.
Yeah.
They used to have.
and
Yeah,
it finally broke, and I'm like, don't. Like, I should have got that from his house and just not used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, tragically, it didn't even make its budget back.
Really?
It cost $140 million to make, and it only made $109 million.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, it came out on my birthday in 2002.
Wow.
So, yeah.
This actually came out. Is it 1 or 2 years after Atlantis? Was Atlantis 2000 or 2001?
I think it was 2000.
I think you're
But
right.
yeah.
Because it came out the same week the Shrek came out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
But, yeah.
Shrek
Don't,
was
don't ask me why. I know
Shrek
that.
was 2001, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe it was.
But, yeah, it's a shame that this was a failure of a movie because it's just
so good.
It's so damn good.
I want to go back to something you said. You said about it being the same people as Aladdin. And a lot of shots of Jim, I really thought of Aladdin.
Yeah.
Like he looked almost kind of like Aladdin, like in the face.
Oh, Jim's mom kind of looked like Ariel in the face.
Okay, yeah. I didn't.
I'm sure that's like when you walk into Disney, the exec standing there with his suspenders and his cigar going, you see, this is how the house does it, see? Keep drawing the ladies like this.
I think it was kind of funny
style.
that his mom had like the lines under her eyes because she was being worked to death because, you know, at the beginning of the movie he was a tyrant and she was the only one working at the bar. So she was like all tired.
She didn't seem to age much.
Yeah, and then
she really didn't.
And
still looked good for her.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Jim came back, like her bags were gone. And then
really?
And Jim had the one bag that kept switching sides. If you noticed that,
I didn't.
Yeah, it was like one line underneath the eye, depending on which one was most forward in the frame. And whenever at the very end, whenever he's in the officer's uniform, they're both gone.
So I will point out that the director of this movie, I think, obviously, or the producer, whoever was in charge of these movies, because I think Road to El Dorado was the same director or producer, whoever it was, and the same animation team. Like you could definitely tell because Disney quit doing those types of movies, so I'm sure they went elsewhere.
Yeah, that was the point of them not wanting it to succeed. They wanted to move on to the 3D animation.
Yeah.
Is what they're known for
so
now.
This was the movie that like finally cut the tie
Yeah.
of that. Road to El Dorado, I looked that up because I was curious to see if there were any like recurring actors that they worked with or anything. And funny enough, Frank Welker is multiple voices in Road to El Dorado, and guess who plays Flint in this movie, even if it's only for 2 lines where he goes, grr.
I don't remember him talking.
He didn't. He said like one word and then grr. You know who it was? Peter Cullen. Optimus Prime. Had like 2 quick things of dialogue that he said.
Huh.
Because I looked it up and I was like, Peter Cullen? I was like, I don't remember him in this movie. And then, of course, he's like, arr, and I'm like, that's Peter Cullen? Oddly enough, not to tangent or anything, Peter Cullen's also the Predator. He does the clicking noise for the Predator.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, Shawn, you and I were talking briefly the other day about El Dorado.
Good movie, too.
And I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
It's DreamWorks, by the way, is what I was going to say. We couldn't remember who made it.
No, okay.
I don't think that they made the Titan AE.
Yeah.
I think it was Fox. Titan After Earth is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
And it's because Earth's gone. Because these aliens show up and they obliterate the planet. And, like, I guess the main character's name is Kale. And his dad's voiced by Ron Perlman for a quick, like, thing in the movie. And his dad's, like, a high-ranking military official. And then they get word there's an alien invasion coming. So he puts Kale on a rocket. And he goes off with the rest of the refugees that leave Earth, and then like the aliens systematically plant their ships and literally just blow Earth apart. Like this all happens within like 2 hours. Like they blow Earth apart, and that's just in the beginning of the movie. Like they just get word, and he's like, "Hell, you need to get out of here," and then they ship him off, and then the world just explodes.
One of my favorite comedians voices in that movie.
Which one? Or which comedian?
Jim Brewer.
Who's he playing in that movie?
The cook.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that I might have to find that somewhere.
It's a good movie. I bought it on DVD because I wanted to see like what the movie was like.
Yeah.
Because this was when I watched Treasure Planet the first time. Then I rewatched Atlantis, and then I started like researching like the guy who directed them, and I wanted to see more of his movies just because I love that style and I like the way that the way it's done.
Yeah, it was Fox, and it did not perform well either. The budget was 75 to 90 million. I don't know.
It's a decent movie. It's just I don't even think it had a theatrical release.
Well, box office was 36.8 million.
I was gonna say it was probably extremely limited box office release.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Anyway,
One aspect of this movie that I really liked was kind of the messages that they had, because like after the montage of Jim and Silver getting close to each other, he's like, "Oh, what happened with your arm and your, the left side or the right side of your body?"
The courage to ask
Yeah,
him.
and he's just like, "Well, you lose a few things chasing your dreams. It's like you make sacrifices for this stuff."
Yeah.
I was like, "God damn,
Yeah,
that's heavy."
That's.
I was like, really, and he says, "There's another thing he says
There's
later
that
on."
word
in the
again,
movie.
heavy.
It's heavy. Why is everything so heavy? Is there something wrong with the Earth's gravitational pull?
There's something else that he says when they're on Treasure Planet and they decide to leave. Oh yeah, he saves Jim instead of holding onto the boat with the treasure, and then I forget what he says to him. But I was like, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
That part reminded me of the Last Crusade, when Indy's hanging trying to reach the Grail, and Sean Connery's holding on to it. And he's like, "You gotta give me your other hand." He's like, "I can't hold on," and he like keeps reaching for it, and he like can't get it, and then he finally like gives up to do it. Like, it kind of reminded me of that, even though it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But I like that about Silver's character, is you never really know until the very end what his true intentions
Well,
are.
even when they're escaping, you can tell that he's trying to make sure that they're not killing Jim, because like they shoot that huge ball, that cannonball at him, and he's like, "No, we'll lose the map," and he like hits the cannon so that it like misfires. Yeah. But you could be like, "Oh, is he doing it because he really wants the map, or because he wants to save Jim?"
Yeah.
I always figured it was because he wanted to save Jim, because that relationship has been forged in this movie, unlike
and that's a great part to it too, because there are a lot of parts of this movie where you're like, Silver really a bad guy? Is Silver a decent guy? And then at the end, when he sacrifices getting the treasure to save Jim, you're like, yep, he's a good guy.
Also, how is that like 5 pieces of gold and 2 gems that he gave Jim enough to build that massive new inn for his mom?
Well, it's the treasure of 1,000 worlds.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, my guess is he took enough that was going to, like, I don't know, currency on different worlds is probably worth more, so he probably like picked up something. He's probably like, well, this is worth a couple million on their planet or at the spaceport, whatever. But like that was one thing where I was like, oh, okay. I was like, Silver's a good guy. Like, I'm happy. Like,
it feels like whenever they let him go at the end that it's deserved, because
He did what was right ultimately in the end, and I liked where he's like, Silver, he's like, you gave up the treasure for me, and he's like, oh, it was just a lifetime of searching for it. I'll get over it. Like, I'm just like, I was like, that's funny. But I mean, like, he ultimately like he made the ultimate sacrifice to keep his friend alive.
Yeah. And that final sequence at the end where they're trying to flee the orbit of the planet so that they don't die in the explosion. They're like, no, we got to go back through the portal. And they're like, that is insane. We can't do it. And Jim makeshifts with the
rocket board.
Yeah, with the rocket board. That's a great scene too.
Yeah,
it's this movie's just so good.
It is. It really is, and it's a damn shame that it didn't do better.
Yeah, I'm really pretty heartbroken about it.
I mean, now that it's on Disney Plus, I honestly hope a lot of people go and watch it.
Yeah.
Because if not, they're missing out.
Yeah, it's very.
They're
good.
honestly missing.
I mean, I had never seen this until now, so
I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I probably didn't like it because I was a stupid kid. And
watching these movies later on in life, you just appreciate them so much more.
Yeah. You pick up on.
And then there are some movies
things.
you watch, and you're just like, like, why did I like this when I was a kid?
Yeah, it's like the reverse. Like, I thought there was so much more to this movie.
I mean, you still like the movie.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't resonate the same as it did when you were 5 years old.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have anything else to say about this?
Not about this one.
No. Okay. This was pretty great.
Well, I'll start our ratings. It's I was mulling it over in my head just now, and it is almost a perfect movie for me if it wasn't for Ben being so fucking annoying. So I'll say that I'll give it a 9 out of 10. because I think it's just like so good. The animation, the different spin on the story. It's like so much more adventurous than just like the regular Treasure Island story.
Yeah.
It's just like so much
just
more vast.
just setting it in space sets it up to be this huge adventure.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen.
Yeah.
And like it's stuff like, you know, you think about the original story and it'd be like that whole like, let's say if they had decided not to do it in space and they're like, we're just gonna do an animated version of Treasure Island, and it's like, oh, like, are you gonna have some stormy weather instead of a supernova? And you're supposed to be excited about that, you know, like it's stuff like that where I'm just like, it just sets it apart.
Yeah, it's just it's so great. So 9 out of 10 for me.
I'm gonna hit it with a 9 out of 10 as well. The song is really the only thing that kills me in it, and honestly, I got up and sort of like walked out of the room to go get something when it started, and I was like, I don't need this bullshit.
Just put it on mute and put on some Bach or something.
Yeah, for real. But I mean, yeah, it's honestly, it's great. I've always loved this type of animation style. The storytelling's fantastic. Everything about it. The score is good too. I don't even know who wrote the score, but I really don't know a lot of people who write the scores for the Disney movies because it's a different type of score. I'll add this too. Every time in these movies, every Disney movie where they're animated, the expressions are so much more over the top. And I mean, you have to for animation's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's an art form. Like, anyone could try to animate like that, but it's just so goddamn unique.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna fulfill the circle of 9s and go with 9 myself. Like, it's kind of mind-blowing not knowing until our discussion about it being connected to, like, Aladdin and all that, which was my childhood. So it's really no surprise that I ended up liking it. One thing we didn't really touch on was a lot of I guess we touched on some of the technology, but like the opening scene where he's like, there's this epic battle.
The book, yeah.
And you know, you're encompassed in this epic battle, and then you just see his face. You're like, what the hell's going on? And then like you see that he's reading this like tech book, like almost like an iPad, but like it's like a pop-up book, but
with holograms.
Yeah.
Narrated by Tony J.
But like, so just from that point on, I mean, I was just hooked. So yeah, like, I don't know. I guess it isn't a 10 out of 10 just for what Aaron said for the song.
It's got a great cast too.
Yeah, everything about it.
David Hyde Pierce, a very young Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, he's Jim.
Emma Thompson, Brian Murray, who plays Silver, which actually his filmography is not vast at all, but he does a good job at playing Silver.
Oh yeah, I thought he did a great job on this.
Martin Short. Who else? I can't remember who else. But
I didn't really look.
It doesn't matter who else.
No, it really doesn't. Like, this is a movie where it could be a no-name cast.
Mr. Arrow was a great...
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Oh, right.
Who, you guys have watched Oliver and Company, right?
Yeah.
Remember the bulldog who was like the Francis? That's Roscoe Lee Brown.
I haven't watched that
that's who played Arrow too.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't need to
initiate.
Get into explain the synopsis of this one.
Well, now that we know which one Mike didn't like, you might as well.
So our next film is Muppet's Treasure Island, and it's the famous novelization of Treasure Island, except instead of being in space or normal, it's with Muppets. So it's the Muppet shtick, and they're doing Treasure Island. Yeah, I don't know. It's more grounded than Treasure Planet, that's for sure.
Yeah. I can't even put my finger on it. Like, I'll just go straight into it. I don't know why I didn't like this.
I don't know why you didn't either. I laughed my ass off the whole way through this
I don't know. I guess was not in a Muppets mood when I turned it on.
I will say this, though. This movie, when I turned it on, I was like, holy shit, this is almost 2 hours long.
What? That's what I compared before I even turned either one on?
No. Because then I clicked Treasure watched Treasure Planet after I watched the Muppets because I had watched Treasure Planet before.
Mm.
So I was like, I'll watch the Muppets one and then I'll watch Treasure Planet. Because I figured if I didn't like the Muppets one, it'd be a nice palate refresher with Treasure Planet. But I looked at that and I was like, oh, okay, Treasure Planet. So I clicked it and I was like, this is also almost 2 hours long. I was like, this is an animated movie. Like, who makes an animated movie that's 2 hours long?
I guess that was.
It was nice and
I always
concise.
see.
It was.
I always see an hour and.
It didn't
30.
feel like 2 hours at all.
No. I always see an hour and 30 and think, oh, that's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like my brain doesn't.
Yeah, me too.
Freaking process. So like I didn't even realize that these movies were that long.
It's an hour and 39 minutes. I think Treasure Planet was,
Yeah.
but Treasure Island is like
This is like an hour and 44 minutes.
yeah something. It is longer.
Yeah.
Which that is a problem I have with it. It's a little too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely could have been shortened up.
This is a Brian Henson film, though not
Jim
the son of Jim
had
Henson.
died.
Yeah,
at
Jim
this
had
point.
passed away at this point. One thing I do like about it is how they, like, in the credits it says the Muppets' name are playing their character.
Yeah.
They don't like say like
Who's
Frank
playing
Oz
it,
is the Muppet, but
Yeah.
it's like that they play off the Muppets as actual actors and things.
right.
Which, I mean, that's kind of a staple of it.
Yeah.
Well, and especially with Jim Henson, like, he wanted you to believe, like, for kids,
Yeah.
he wanted you to believe that the Great Gonzo was an actual character, like, not a character in the movie,
Yeah.
but that
An
he's
actual
an
person.
actor playing
Yeah.
a role.
Except Rizzo and Gonzo play themselves
Yes.
in like every movie.
I mean, that's staple of it.
Yeah. What's his name? Jim Connolly in the very beginning.
Billy Connolly.
Billy Connolly in the very beginning. That was pretty
As
great.
Billy Bones.
As Billy Bones. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the same story.
Yeah, it
Basically.
is. It's the same exact story, but it puts the Muppet spin on it. And I don't know. Any movie with Muppets just makes me laugh my ass off.
There were some great gags in this. One of my favorites was whenever Long John Silver comes up and he's like, "Oh, Captain, it's an honor it's a tradition to toast with this like really old alcohol, like really expensive brandy." He's like, "Oh, it's a tradition." And then Kermit's like, "Oh no, there will be no drinking on my ship," and Fozzie throws it out the window.
That was pretty fun.
And he's like, "No, it's tradition." And he's like, "Oh, yes. And he fills up another cup. He's like, "Nope, I said we won't." And throws it out the window and just like wastes the entire like bottle
And
of
then
brandy.
The mice come up and they're like, I forget
Stop,
what they said.
ease it with the alcohol. You're stripping the paint off shuffleboard.
Yeah.
That was one thing.
Because Rizzo decides, like, well, if the treasure ain't here, at least the trip will be financially saved. So he, like, turns it into a rat cruise. Or a pirate cruise. We put the rat in pirate.
Yeah.
And he has, like, all the rats coming.
The rat cruise was, like, the only bits of the story that were, like, they kind of annoyed me. Because it would be, like...
They landed pretty well for me.
It would be, like, the main story, and then it would cut to, like... the rats just like having dinner or something, watching them,
or the fourth wall breaking where they're in
and
and this is a real filming location from Muppet's Treasure Island, and they're like, ooh, like snap pictures of it.
Yeah, they break the fourth wall with the Muppets all the time.
Oh yeah,
which that's pretty good.
Yeah, there were a lot of good gags in the movie. When what do they call Miss Piggy? Boom shakalaka.
Yeah, boom.
And like
shakalaka.
they're chanting
Boom
her name, and it's like boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka. I thought that was hilarious.
I
And then she finds out it's Kermit.
Yeah.
So there definitely were funny parts, but like, I don't know. I just didn't.
The one song, I thought that the songs were pretty good for the most part, except that Cabin Fever song.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
I hated that one.
That was actually one of my favorite
I was
ones.
like, oh no. It just kept going. We've got Cabin Fever. I was just like, no, stop.
No, I actually enjoyed the Cabin Fever song. And then when they take Jim ashore and the band is like on the shoreline, he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Which side are we on?" He's like, "Shut up and play the gig." And he's like, "All right." And then they just
We
continue
don't
to
get
play.
into politics, man. Yeah.
And then Animal's like, "Politics, politics." And he goes back to banging on the drum.
One thing is made clear to me though is that Tim Curry is an absolute gem.
Oh yeah.
He's fantastic in this movie.
I mean, I liked everything I've seen of him. Let me just put it out there. I was not a fan of the kid that played.
no, Jim was like, I didn't care less.
And
I did not care.
And as that being
yeah,
arguably the main character.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what I just checked out. Like, you're saying these things and you're reminding me, but like I don't remember like anything already.
Yeah, Jim was I didn't care for him at all. I probably would have liked him if he was played by a Muppet instead.
Yeah.
If he had been like Fozzie Bear had been like Jim Hawkins or something, I would have been fine with that. But like the kid was just kind of annoying.
Fuck it, put Meep as Jim.
Yeah.
Meeker, whatever his name is.
But I think that I think it was funny. I laughed quite a bit.
It was funny.
Gags. Overall it was long.
It was long.
It was very long. It could have been shortened up. But I mean, overall, it was an enjoyable tale. The Muppets are, as always, I liked when Benjamina like drop kicks Kermit and he hits into like the pole and he turns around, his face is all like distorted and he looks and he's like old girlfriend and like I just kind of laughed about that.
Yeah, I mean Kermit's funny. I liked how Mr. Arrow was like, 20 lashes and then walk the plank, and Kermit's like,
no, I didn't say that.
It's like, I was just anticipating your actions. So.
Yeah, I like that. Or like whenever he what's the big furry Muppet's name?
Sweetums.
Yeah. Whenever when he takes his hand and like looks at the dust and he goes, he's furious. And he's like, who was on rail dust, dude? I might point out that the innkeeper was the fairy godmother in Shrek 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's only in the movie for a short period of time, but Jennifer Saunders.
Yeah, she's beating the hell out of Flint's old gang.
Yeah, like kicking them out the door and everything.
I like the scene where Kermit and Miss Piggy were hung upside down, and there's like the fire there, and then her thing snaps, and he's holding on to her, and he's like,
his eyeballs are like busting out of his head and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
See, I was completely checked out. Do not remember that at all.
Yeah, there's some good parts to it, but ultimately it does come down to the kid that played Jim Hawkins was just... I didn't care for him nearly as much as I cared for Jim in Treasure Planet. Yeah. Like, he was just... like, he's just like such a far better character in Treasure Planet.
Jim in Muppet Treasure Island was just kind of along for the ride. I honestly was just there for the Muppet hijinks. Tim Curry.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, Tim Curry is great. I like whenever they're going to kill him because they led him to the no treasure and they give him a black spot and he's like, a black spot on the puzzle. Yeah, and he's like screaming at him. He's like, you're damned! And then they're like, all is forgiven, all is forgiven. Now untie me. They just like turns him completely around and brings him back to their side. Yeah. Tim Curry and the Muppets are the best part about this.
I had to look up the cast. Like, I didn't even realize it was Tim Curry.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. He's such a master of disguise. Like, I don't know. I mean, once I seen it, I was like, oh okay.
I mean, there's things about him that things he says and how he laughs. You're like, oh yeah, that's Tim Curry. But whenever you're first introduced to him, you're like, you couldn't tell, or at least I couldn't.
Yeah. I knew by looking at him, just because I know, like, I could pick Tim Curry out of something. But, like, looking at it, like, that's Tim Curry. But, like, if you listen to the voice, it really doesn't sound like the Tim Curry
I think that's what
used
threw
to.
me off at first.
Yeah. And then when he starts to sing, you're like, I've never watched it the whole way through, but if you've watched, like, Rocky Horror Picture, you're like,
I never watched it.
That's Tim Curry singing.
Yeah, he's like, focus up, boys. This is my only number.
This is my only number.
Which isn't true, because he sang at the beginning, too.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, the one gag that I liked was whenever they're naming off the crew and they're like old Jim or whatever, and it's like here, and it's like very old Jim. He's like, he's a
Dead
mummy.
Jim.
Yeah,
Dead Jim.
Dead Jim.
Or Dead Tom.
Dead Tom.
Tom.
And it's
He
like
killed Dead Tom. Dead Tom's always been dead. Oh, and like
Whatever.
you're like the skeleton.
it's like very ugly, unibrowed, no whatever, McGillicuddy, and then it's like that woman walks up and she's like, here.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. There's not much to say about this movie.
No.
It's just like
It's the same plot.
it's the same thing.
It's just Muppet
It's just-
hijinks. If you're a fan of the
Yeah.
Muppet movies,
Yeah, if you like Muppets, then
you're-
you'll like this
you're
movie.
you're
but,
in for the ride.
Muppet Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet.
Oh,
is,
that's a crossover that you could do.
Treasure Planet
Muppet
is
Treasure Planet.
I don't know.
by far the superior of the two. So I'll
Yes.
just rate this one. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Or yeah, 6 out of 10 sounds fair. Just because the Muppets hijinks is funny to me.
I'm gonna hit it with a 7 because I laughed a lot more than I thought I was gonna laugh. Like, I used to watch the Muppet movies when I was a kid, and I was like 5 years old, so of course I'm like laughing at what's going on. The Muppets are like falling or something funny. But like as an adult, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, that's hilarious. Like there's humor in it that a 5-year-old's not gonna understand that you understand as an adult. And you're just like, that's hilarious.
Like whenever they stretch Gonzo out and he's like,
I almost forgot about that. That's one of my favorite parts. And it's because and he's like, I'm gonna have a career in the NBA. And then they show him on the deck later, and he's just like giant arms, like tentacles that go everywhere. That shit's hilarious.
All right, so yeah, there was funny parts of this movie, but I was so checked out, like I totally forgot. But I still didn't. I still don't like it. I'm gonna go like I don't know. 4 keeps coming to my head. We'll go 4.
Fair. Well, I'm glad that you like Treasure Planet because that's the one I wanted you to like.
Yeah.
Everyone should like Treasure
Yeah,
Planet.
that was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit that more often because it's amazing.
I
Yeah.
need to rewatch Atlantis just because Atlantis is fucking amazing.
Did I state that I haven't seen that yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to watch that one. That is a really good one.
All right. Well, that was our discussion, and now we have another recommendation for us.
Yeah,
This
there's like 10 in my head. I don't know.
time.
Well, we're not doing all 10. I can tell you that.
I know.
3 is the max.
I know. All right. I guess I'll do this one. It was like something good, something bad, something hated, something loved. Let's go something hated.
All right.
I'm excited.
In the aftermath of Schumacher, we're gonna go with the 2 bad Batman films.
I'm down to rewatch Batman Forever again.
So Batman and Robin.
Bad. Yeah, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Just first passing.
I like it.
All right.
I'm down.
I'll state, I love Forever.
Forever's
Like,
great.
I just love that movie. And that it's the exact opposite for Batman and Robin.
All right.
It is not great.
No.
Well, guys, if you don't want to get spoiled for Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, catch them out before our next podcast because we will be having a spoiler discussion of them. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed our discussion about Treasure Planet and Muppet's Treasure Island, as well as our tangent about composers and Jurassic Park earlier, because we sure enjoyed talking about it. And we will see you next time.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Oh, wrong Batman.